So the choking moniker gets put on the Arizona Rattlers quite a bit, but I think the Frisco Fighters might have a case for choke artist of the last few years. Let's see if they can turn their fortunes around in 2024. Let's go in the alley and discuss what's going to happen. Welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. It's awesome to have you guys back along for another video number 4. And that would put us about the quarter-way mark of all the indoor football previews. So tonight, the Frisco Fighters, we're going to figure out if they can finally get over the hump and at least make a championship game. They've been kind of stuck in neutral in the playoffs the last couple of years. We'll discuss that here in a second. But relatively new team when it comes to post-COVID era. Can't really say the C word or you'll get the little thing down below on the video. That being said, let's go take a dive into the history, the very brief history, with a lot of success of the Frisco Fighters. Alright, so, history time. History time. It's time for a history lesson. I'm talking about the Frisco Fighters, obviously based in Frisco, Texas, suburb of Dallas, where FC Dallas plays MLS soccer. I don't like them as a sporting fan. Moving on. Head coach Andre Coles. He moves on he is replacing Billy Back, who was let go midway through the season or towards the end of the season last year. And this will be his first year at the helm. His interim tag was removed, and he is going to lead a very stacked team, hopefully to another number 1 overall seed in the West, and for possibly the third year in a row, the best overall record in the league. No championships to speak of. And last season, they went 13-2, like I said, as the number 1 seed. I think I said West a second ago. I meant East. I always think of Texas teams in the West. I apologize. But number 1 seed in the East. Looking at their last 5 years, a total of 37-7. That's right, only 7 losses, single digits. 2023, 13-2, lost in the semifinals to Sioux Falls by 1 point. This is coming just a few weeks after they demolished them in Frisco. I think it was like 53-16 or something along those lines. A lot to a little. 2022, again, best overall record in the regular season. 14-2, again, losing in the semifinals. This time to Quad City, 48-41. I guess those should read Western Conference Championships. 2021, 10-3, losing in the semifinals to Massachusetts, 43-22. So, and obviously no season in 2020, and I guess they were founded as a team in 2019, but they didn't play until 2021, obviously due to the lost season. So, the team is there. The team is stacked. The team is good. The team wins. The team wins a lot. As you can see, 7 total losses, averaging 2 losses in the last 2 seasons alone, or per season, I guess. But they come up short. I mean, 1 possession game against Quad City, 1 point game against Sioux Falls, and they desperately need to get to a championship this year. I don't want to put a choke moniker on them, but if they keep this up, at some point you've got to get them over the hump. We'll talk about the players that they bring back, the players they lose, and it could be time for them to actually make that trip, but some tough competition does stand in the way in the East. Let's go take a look at the schedule and see if they can carve out their path to an indoor football championship berth. So when you take a look at the schedule, I want to apologize to Duke City. I told them that they would have a brutal stretch last night, and 13 straight games for Frisco. So yeah, the schedule for Duke City can be outdone. Not to say that still isn't a brutal schedule, but 13 straight games for the Frisco Fighters, and all of their road games are in those 13. So it's going to be a very, very tough stretch for them. However, they've proven time and time again that they can win. And 3 games against San Antonio, not sure how they're going to be. I think personally they're going to be a tough out. You have games against Massachusetts. They actually play Quad City twice this year. They didn't play them at all last year in the regular season. Home and homes against Tulsa, and then they also play some of the Western teams, Tucson, San Diego. It's not really, Frisco's schedule is not necessarily just based on whether they're playing in the East or the West. I know a lot of it is travel based for, each team depending on where they're located, and some make the trips from the East to the West and vice versa. Frisco's got a good mix of East and West. I mean, they're going to travel to a lot of places, and other teams are going to be traveling to them. So kudos to them for having a really, really, balanced schedule. I think that kind of works in their favor to see which styles they're coming from the West, what styles are coming from the East, and what they can do to kind of mold their game to each side. That being said, though, it's still going to be brutal. I mean, you're playing Jacksonville. I don't think Sioux Falls is going to be an easy out. They always seem to be able to reload. Tulsa looks to be better this year. Like I said, home and home against Duke City, those look winnable. Green Bay looks winnable. The Iowa game looks winnable. Tucson is kind of an anomaly. And like I said, I don't know about San Antonio. Brand new team coming into the league. Well, not brand new, but new team to the league. It's going to be a curious case to see how many wins this team gets. So we got to talk about the players that are coming back. We got to talk about the players that are leaving. Dare I say they take a step back this year? They're still going to be a playoff team. I still think Frisco is going to be a playoff team, talking about the first team in the East. But dare I say they might take a step back. They might actually get 4 losses this year. Ooh. But that's just my personal opinion. You got to play the games. That's just how it goes. And I think they take a little bit of a step back this year just based on that schedule, how tough it's going to be. But if there's any team not named Arizona or Jacksonville that I think could do something like this, I think Frisco's one of them. I truly do. So, that being said, let's go check out the players that are coming back, players that are leaving, and see if that helps or hurts the team. You thought you could get rid of last year's MVP and get your way into the playoffs in the East? You thought wrong. TJ Edwards, back with the Frisco Fighters. MVP, first team All-IFL, 2,600 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, 853 rushing yards, 49 rushing touchdowns. The man is the myth, the legend, the end-all, be-all, and he is the guy that Frisco needs to rely on again this season. TJ Edwards is amazing. The man is really, really good. They have found what could be a potential IFL Hall of Famer if he keeps these stats up. I mean, the guy is just, there's not enough superlatives that you can put for him. It's amazing that he's back. I did not think he would be. I figured he would go into the UFL. I figured he would go into the CFL. He has the ability to prove doubters wrong. He has the ability to play at a higher level. So while it's awesome to see him here, it's awesome to see him back in 2024, it should not, in my opinion, it should be his final season here, because he should be off to bigger, better things. But it's amazing that he's back. It's a championship or bust year for Frisco as long as he's at the helm. And God, like I said, there's just not enough good things I can say about it. Frisco needs to make the championship with him. Second up, and I kind of cheated here to make the stats look a little bit better because I like seeing 1,000 yards, seeing that little comma. But Jimmy Smith and Martez Carter are both back for the Frisco Fighters. 1,004 combined rushing yards, 23 combined rushing touchdowns. But it's not just these two guys. They re-signed quite a bit of their wide receivers as well. I know they've signed quite a few rookies. They are also one of the more active teams, signing players, signing rookies, and doing things along those lines. They've brought back Faison McClurge. They've brought back Lionel McConnell. They've brought back Cole Blackman. They've brought back, I believe, Spencer Tiers. No, that's not right. Moving on. Like I said, I'm trying to focus on these guys, but they bring back quite a bit of skill players. They actually do bring back 2 offensive linemen too, so it's almost like their entire offense from last season, minus obviously you'll see down below, they almost bring back their entire offense from last year. Let's talk defense really quick. Charles Williams coming back, 40.5 tackles, 12 tackles for a loss, and 6.5 sacks. I know it's kind of hard to see with green on that blue right there, but first team all indoor football league, and I believe he came back after I think he missed a couple of games. I don't think he was injured. I think he just signed on a little bit late last season. I could be misremembering last season with the season before, but I'm pretty sure he came back after a couple of games and he was able to do all that. So, Charles Williams was just a beast last season, and it proved to be something magical. Got him to the Western Conference Finals. And yeah, he played 12 games last season out of the 15. So he did, I believe, sign on late. But yeah, needless to say, he didn't need those other 3 games to put up those stats. So look for him and linebacker Royce C. And I'm blanking on the other defensive lineman that they have. I guess I could go look it up, but I'm not going to waste any more time here. Let's move on to the key losses really quick. All right, key losses. Starting off with wide receiver Jermaine Smith, Germ the Worm, off to the Canadian Football League. But before he goes there, he had 80 receptions, 923 receiving yards, and 14 touchdowns. He was all over the place. He was TJ Edwards' go-to guy, and the nice little DJ celebration. He has a video on the IFL page. He DJs in his free time, so gonna miss seeing that little celebration in the end zone whenever he scores touchdowns. But when you look at it, TJ Edwards, 39 passing touchdowns, 14 of those were to Jermaine Smith. I believe he's off to the Edmonton Elks in the Canadian Football League, as is his teammate, wide receiver kick returner Charles Heaton. Now, I only really put his return stats because he was a damn good returnman last year. He's also off to the Canadian Football League. 1,226 return yards and 7 return touchdowns. Good for first team all indoor football league. I believe that's on the special team side as kick returner. IFL all rookie team 2023 special teams player of the year. The man was a danger to kick to the point where you just pray that you can get a rouge, or you tried for the deuce and we're fine with the touchback. We're fine with it coming out to the 5 or the 25 or 20 or whatever, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, there was a chance any time that he was going to return that ball, and again, he's off to greener pastures into the Canadian Football League. And another player off to the Canadian Football League, to my knowledge, is Cordell Jackson, defensive back, and we'll talk a little bit about the secondary in a second, but 68.5 tackles, 23 pass breakups, 8 picks, 1 forced fumble, and I saw on the indoor stats page, not the actual Frisco Fighters, but I saw 3 touchdowns. I thought I remember him having a couple pick sixes last season. Could be mistaken, but 3 touchdowns, I have it down, so I'm going to go with it. If I'm wrong, well, I'm wrong. I apologize. But first team all indoor football league and the 2023 IFL defensive rookie of the year. So a lot of talent on both sides. You got a lot of talent returning. You have a lot of talent leaving. Does that bode well? This is the reason why I said that they could possibly take a step back next year, or this year, excuse me. But with that being said, the secondary is I think going to make or break, and I've been saying that probably for all 4 teams, but it's really hard to keep a lot of guys. But let's wrap up really quick, and we will get out of here with team number 4. All right, wrapping up, and I kind of want to piggyback off the last segment here. this is the reason why I think Frisco is going to have a tough time, and it kind of goes back to the Arizona thing, too, that I talked about in their preview. You lose Michael Levitt, Lovett, LeVay, I've heard it pronounced different ways, I'm going to call him Levitt. You lose Michael Levitt, Shaq Bond, Cordell Jackson, Kyle Myers, Derek Jones, Rodney Allen. Any of those guys could be re-signed. Again, I have to say it in every video. Rosters remain fluid, for right now at least. But right now, all 6 of those guys all contributed in some way, whether it was special teams or defense or anything along those lines. I haven't seen any of them signed. In fact, I think Cordell Jackson is off to the Arena Football League. I think Kyle Myers is too. Rodney Allen went to the UFL, and I haven't seen anything else amongst the others. But like I said, you're bringing in some rookies. You got to kind of season some of those guys pretty quick. That didn't really stop Cordell Jackson, though. So if you can find those diamonds in the rough again and have them ball out, then by all means, they are going to ball out. But I think that's where the issue is going to be. Defensive line, I know Frisco's got a good defensive line. Like I said, they bring back Charles Williams. They bring back Craig Evans. Royce C. It's hard to say that so fast. Royce C. has played defensive line. He's played linebacker. So I see him kind of going in between those positions right there. Like I said, they bring back so many skill positions. They bring back 2 of their offensive linemen from last season. So they've reloaded, except at one spot it seems, and that's the defensive secondary. That could be a point of contention here. That doesn't stop them from signing other guys that could be just as good. Like I said, I think this is a year that Frisco takes a step back, albeit not a huge leap, like probably 3 baby steps, 3 little tiny itsy bitsy baby steps. Like I said, they finished 13-2 last season. You add another game, they could finish 13-3. They could finish 12-4 or 11-5. I don't see this team missing the playoffs. It's proven over the last couple of seasons that they are good. They are coached really well. They are owned really well. They are managed very well, and nothing's stopping me from thinking that this team cannot still make the number 1 seed in the East. It's going to be tough, but I don't necessarily think that anyone thought that they would be the number 1 seed in the East the last 2 seasons in a row. However, people probably thought they were going to be good teams. So, like I said, I think they will probably come back down to earth a little bit. They're still going to stay in orbit, but probably come back down to earth a little bit. But being said, that is my 2024 preview of the Frisco Fighters. So, as usual, like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. We are 1/4 of the way through our indoor league team previews. We have 12 teams left to do. Tomorrow, Green Bay is on the clock. It'll be fun to talk about them. They're such a legacy team going all the way back to the Arena Football 2 days. So we'll talk about them tomorrow. I'll save that for tomorrow. But like I said, like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. I appreciate all the love and support. I appreciate you guys watching these videos, tuning into every single one. And we're what? 18 days away, 17 days away. When I publish this video, we'll be 17 days away from the start of the Indoor Football League. Almost 2 weeks away. I am getting excited. I am getting really excited for it. But hey, I'm signing off on this video. I'll catch you tomorrow with Green Bay. Until then, see ya.